In the heart of London, where ancient traditions meet modern security, a single delivery would expose secrets that have been hidden for decades. What started as a routine package inspection at the palace gates would unravel a mystery so shocking that it would test the very foundations of royal protocol. The X-ray machine hummed its familiar tune that morning, but what appeared on the screen would leave security experts questioning everything they thought they knew about royal gift-giving. Sometimes the most dangerous packages come wrapped in the most innocent disguise. The morning fog rolled across the Thames like a gray blanket, wrapping itself around the imposing gates of Kensington Palace. Detective Inspector Sarah Mitchell adjusted her earpiece as she watched the familiar dance of morning deliveries begin. After 15 years of royal protection duty, she had seen it all, or so she thought. The steady stream of packages, flowers, and correspondence that arrived daily for the royal family had become as predictable as the changing of the guard. Sarah's partner, Constable James Reynolds, emerged from the security checkpoint carrying a steaming cup of tea. His weathered face bore the marks of someone who had spent decades protecting Britain's most precious family. At 58, James had worked royal security longer than anyone else on the current team, and his experience was invaluable. "Quiet morning so far," James remarked, settling into his position beside the X-ray machine. The sophisticated equipment had been installed just 2 years prior, part of an extensive security upgrade following several international incidents. Every package, no matter how small or seemingly innocent, passed through multiple layers of screening. "Don't jinx it," Sarah replied with a slight smile. She had learned never to assume anything when it came to royal security. The public's fascination with the royal family meant that gifts, letters, and packages arrived from every corner of the world, each requiring careful examination. The first delivery van of the day approached the checkpoint at precisely 8:15. The driver, a middle-aged man named Thomas Hartwell, had been making deliveries to the palace for over a decade. His company, Crown Couriers, held an exclusive contract for handling sensitive royal deliveries. Thomas knew the security protocols by heart and had developed a comfortable rapport with the guards over the years. "Morning, Sarah, James," Thomas called out cheerfully as he stepped down from his van. "Got a special delivery today for Her Royal Highness." Came through the diplomatic channels, marked as a cultural exchange gift. Sarah's attention sharpened. Diplomatic gifts required extra scrutiny, as they often came from foreign dignitaries and could contain items that might not immediately appear suspicious but could pose security risks. She approached Thomas's van as he carefully retrieved a medium-sized package from the back. The package was wrapped in elegant brown paper and tied with what appeared to be silk ribbon. The shipping labels indicated it had originated from a museum in Prague, Czech Republic. The sender was listed as Dr. Elena Kovar, identified as a curator of historical artifacts. The package was addressed specifically to Catherine, Princess of Wales, with a note indicating it contained historical documentation and artifact of mutual interest. "Looks legitimate," James observed, examining the shipping documentation. "All the diplomatic seals appear authentic, and the paperwork is complete." He had seen thousands of similar packages over his career, and this one seemed to follow all the proper protocols. Sarah nodded, but maintained her vigilant stance. "Let's run it through the scanner anyway. Protocol is protocol, regardless of the source." Thomas helped them carry the package to the security checkpoint, where the state-of-the-art X-ray machine waited. The machine was capable of detecting everything from weapons and explosives to biological materials and electronic devices. Its sophisticated imaging system could reveal the contents of packages in remarkable detail. As James positioned the package on the conveyor belt, Sarah noticed something unusual about its weight distribution. Despite being roughly the size of a large book, the package felt oddly balanced, as if the contents were not uniformly distributed. Her years of training had taught her to pay attention to such details, as they often provided the first clue that something might be amiss. The package disappeared into the X-ray machine with a soft mechanical hum. Sarah and James both focused intently on the monitor screen, waiting for the familiar outline of the package's contents to appear. What they saw, however, was anything but familiar. The screen displayed an image that made both security experts pause in confusion. Instead of the expected documents or small artifacts typically found in cultural exchange packages, the X-ray revealed what appeared to be multiple compartments within the package. The contents seemed deliberately arranged in a way that suggested careful planning and organization. "That's unusual," James muttered, adjusting the contrast on the screen to get a better view. The image showed what looked like several small, dense objects surrounded by what appeared to be padding material. The objects were roughly cylindrical in shape and seemed to be made of a material that absorbed X-rays differently than typical gift items. Sarah leaned closer to the monitor, her training kicking in as she analyzed what she was seeing. The arrangement of the objects was too precise to be accidental, and their positioning within the package suggested they were meant to be concealed. "James, can you enhance this section here?" She pointed to an area of the screen where one of the objects seemed to have some kind of internal structure. As James adjusted the imaging parameters, the details became clearer. What they were looking at appeared to be small metal containers, each about the size of a film canister, but made of a much denser material. The containers were nestled within layers of what looked like historical documents, creating a sophisticated camouflage that would fool casual inspection. "I've never seen anything like this in a diplomatic package," Sarah said, her voice taking on a more serious tone. "These containers are definitely not typical museum artifacts." The discovery triggered immediate protocol activation. Sarah reached for her secure radio to contact the command center, while James began documenting the X-ray images with a digital recording system. Every step of the discovery process needed to be carefully recorded for later analysis and potential legal proceedings. "Command, this is Checkpoint Alpha," Sarah spoke into her radio. "We have a code yellow situation with a diplomatic package. Request immediate supervisor response and specialist support." Within minutes, the security checkpoint buzzed with activity. Detective Chief Inspector Robert Hayes arrived with a team of specialists, including experts in explosives detection, chemical analysis, and diplomatic protocols. The package was carefully moved to a secure examination room, where it could be opened under control conditions. Dr. Margaret Foster, the palace's chief security consultant, arrived shortly after the specialist team. With her PhD in chemistry and extensive experience in forensic analysis, she was often called upon to examine unusual items that arrived at the palace. Her presence indicated that the situation was being taken very seriously. "What do we know so far?" Dr. Foster asked, reviewing the X-ray images on a large monitor in the examination room. Sarah briefed her on the discovery, emphasizing the unusual nature of the package's contents and the sophisticated way the items appeared to be concealed. "The sender is listed as Dr. Elena Kovar from Prague, but we haven't been able to verify her credentials yet. The diplomatic seals appear authentic, but something about this entire situation feels orchestrated." Dr. Foster studied the images carefully, her experienced eye picking out details that might escape notice by others. "These containers are made of lead-line material," she observed. "That level of shielding is typically used for radioactive materials or highly sensitive electronic components. It's definitely not standard for historical artifacts." The implications of this discovery sent a chill through the security team. Lead-lined containers in a package addressed to a member of the royal family could indicate anything from espionage equipment to dangerous materials. The fact that it had arrived through diplomatic channels made the situation even more complex, as it involved international protocols and potential diplomatic immunity issues. Meanwhile, back at the original checkpoint, Thomas Hartwell waited nervously in the security office. As the delivery driver, he was being questioned about the package's journey and any unusual circumstances surrounding its delivery. Thomas insisted that he had simply picked up the package from the diplomatic courier service as part of his regular route, with no knowledge of its actual contents. "I've been doing this job for 12 years, Thomas explained to the investigating officer. "I've delivered thousands of packages to the palace, and this one seemed completely normal. The paperwork was in order, the seals were intact, and it came through the proper diplomatic channels. The investigating team was already working to trace the package's complete journey from Prague to London. Initial inquiries revealed that Dr. Elena Kovar did indeed exist and was employed by the Czech National Museum. However, when contacted by phone, she expressed complete bewilderment about the package, claiming she had never sent anything to the British royal family. This revelation transformed the situation from unusual to potentially sinister. Someone had used Dr. Kovar's identity to send a carefully concealed package to Princess Catherine, suggesting a level of planning and sophistication that indicated serious criminal intent. The lead line containers could contain anything from surveillance equipment to biological agents, and the team needed to determine their contents without compromising security. Back in the examination room, Dr. Foster and her team prepared to open the package using robotic equipment that would allow them to examine the contents from a safe distance. The room was equipped with advanced air filtration systems and radiation detection equipment, preparing for any possibility. As the robotic arms carefully removed the outer wrapping, layers of authentic-looking historical documents were revealed. The papers appeared to be legitimate 18th-century correspondence, written in Czech and dealing with diplomatic relations between Bohemia and Britain. The authenticity of these documents only made the deception more sophisticated, as someone had gone to considerable expense and effort to create a convincing disguise for whatever was hidden beneath. Whoever planned this knew exactly what they were doing. Dr. Foster commented as she watched the documents being carefully removed. These papers are museum-quality reproductions, if not authentic pieces. The level of detail and planning suggests this is the work of professionals. The first lead-lined container was finally exposed, nestled between layers of the historical documents. It was roughly the size of a small jewelry box, made of what appeared to be medical-grade stainless steel with lead shielding. The container bore no markings or identifying information, making it impossible to determine its origin or intended purpose without opening it. Sarah watched the proceedings with growing concern. In her 15 years of royal security work, she had encountered many unusual situations, but this level of sophisticated deception was unprecedented. The fact that someone had used the diplomatic system to deliver potentially dangerous materials to a member of the royal family represented a serious breach of international security protocols. The second container was revealed moments later, identical in size and construction to the first. The third container, however, was slightly different. While the same size and materials, it bore a small symbol etched into its surface, a symbol that Dr. Foster immediately recognized from her training in international security threats. "Stop everything," Dr. Foster commanded suddenly, her voice carrying an urgency that made everyone in the room freeze. "That symbol, I need to check our database immediately. No one touches anything until I verify what we're dealing with." The symbol was barely visible, etched with precision into the metal surface of the container. It consisted of 3 interlocking circles with what appeared to be Cyrillic characters underneath. Dr. Foster's reaction suggested that this was no ordinary marking, but rather something with significant implications for security. As Dr. Foster quickly accessed the secure computer terminal in the examination room, the tension in the air became palpable. The discovery had already evolved from unusual to suspicious to potentially dangerous, and now it seemed they might be dealing with something even more serious than initially imagined. The computer database search returned results that confirmed Dr. Foster's worst fears. The symbol was associated with a disbanded Soviet-era intelligence operation that had been involved in developing sophisticated surveillance and infiltration equipment during the Cold War. While the operation had officially been shut down decades ago, intelligence services had been tracking the resurgence of similar symbols in recent years, suggesting that remnants of the organization might still be active. "We're dealing with something much bigger than a simple security breach," Dr. Foster announced to the assembled team. "This symbol is connected to Operation Nightingale, a Soviet intelligence program that was never fully dismantled after the Cold War ended. If these containers contain what I think they might, we're looking at state-level espionage equipment. The implications were staggering. Someone had used sophisticated deception to attempt delivery of what appeared to be Cold War-era espionage equipment to a member of the British royal family. The use of authentic diplomatic channels and Dr. Kovar's stolen identity suggested an operation of considerable scope and planning. Sarah felt her phone vibrate with an urgent message from the command center. Intelligence services had been monitoring increased chatter related to royal family activities in recent weeks, but nothing had suggested a direct threat. Now it appeared that someone had been planning something far more elaborate than simple surveillance. The examination room filled with additional personnel as news of the discovery spread through the security apparatus. Representatives from MI5, the Metropolitan Police's Counterterrorism Command, and International Intelligence Services began coordinating their response to what was clearly a sophisticated espionage attempt. Meanwhile, the packages remained unopened, their contents still unknown, but increasingly ominous given the context of their discovery. The lead line containers could contain anything from listening devices and cameras to more dangerous surveillance equipment or even biological agents designed to compromise the health of their intended target. Dr. Foster made the decision to suspend the examination until additional equipment could be brought in to safely analyze the container's contents. The potential connection to Operation Nightingale meant that standard security protocols might not be sufficient to handle whatever was inside. As the security team sealed off the examination area and began implementing enhanced safety measures, Sarah reflected on how a routine morning delivery had transformed into what appeared to be one of the most sophisticated security breaches in recent royal protection history. The day was far from over, and she suspected that what they had discovered so far was only the beginning of a much larger and more dangerous situation. The secure conference room at New Scotland Yard hummed with quiet intensity as representatives from multiple intelligence agencies gathered for an emergency briefing. Detective Inspector Sarah Mitchell found herself at the center of what had rapidly escalated into an international incident. The morning's discovery at Kensington Palace had triggered the highest level of security protocols, and the implications were becoming clearer with each passing hour. Commander David Thornton from the Metropolitan Police's Counterterrorism Command took his place at the head of the conference table, flanked by agents from MI5 and representatives from the Czech intelligence services who had been contacted immediately following the discovery. The atmosphere was tense, with everyone understanding that they were dealing with something far beyond a simple security breach. "Ladies and gentlemen," Commander Thornton began, his voice carrying the weight of decades of experience in handling sensitive security matters. "What we discovered this morning represents one of the most sophisticated attempts to penetrate royal security in recent history. The operation shows hallmarks of state-level planning and execution, and we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with." Agent Rebecca Collins from MI5 activated a large display screen showing enhanced images of the X-ray scans from the morning's discovery. The lead line containers were clearly visible, along with detailed analysis of their construction and the suspicious symbol that had triggered the connection to Operation Nightingale. "Our preliminary analysis suggests these containers were manufactured using techniques and materials consistent with Soviet-era intelligence equipment," Agent Collins explained. "The lead lining is medical grade, designed to shield contents from both X-ray detection and potential radiation. The precision of the construction indicates access to specialized manufacturing facilities." Sarah listened intently as the briefing continued, still processing how her routine morning had evolved into this high-stakes intelligence operation. The weight of responsibility was enormous. Her discovery at the checkpoint might have prevented a significant security breach, but it had also exposed what appeared to be an ongoing threat to royal security. Dr. Pavel Novak, a representative from Czech intelligence services, provided additional context about the investigation into Dr. Elena Kovar's stolen identity. Dr. Kovar is a legitimate museum curator with no connections to intelligence activities, he reported through a secure video link from Prague. However, our investigation has revealed that someone accessed her personal information and museum credentials approximately 6 weeks ago. The theft was so sophisticated that Dr. Kovar herself was unaware her identity had been compromised. This revelation added another layer of complexity to the situation. The perpetrators had not only planned the delivery attempt months in advance, but had also conducted sophisticated intelligence gathering to identify and compromise a suitable cover identity. The level of preparation suggested resources and capabilities typically associated with organized crime or state-sponsored operations. Dr. Margaret Foster joined the briefing remotely from the secure laboratory, where the containers remained under strict containment protocols. Her team had been working throughout the morning to analyze the containers without opening them, using advanced scanning techniques that could provide information about their contents while maintaining safety protocols. "We've made some progress in understanding what we're dealing with," Dr. Foster reported. "Our advanced scanning reveals that each container holds what appears to be sophisticated electronic equipment. The devices show characteristics consistent with surveillance technology, but they're unlike anything we've seen in contemporary intelligence equipment." The implications were chilling. Surveillance equipment delivered to Princess Catherine could have been used to monitor her activities, record private conversations, or even track her movements. The potential for compromising royal security and privacy was enormous, and the international implications of such a breach could have affected diplomatic relations for years to come. Commander Thornton addressed the assembled team with growing urgency. "We need to understand not just what these devices are, but who sent them and what their ultimate objective might be. This level of sophistication suggests we're dealing with an ongoing operation, not a single incident." The investigation team had been working to trace the package's complete journey from Prague to London. Initial findings revealed a complex route involving multiple courier services and transfer points, each designed to obscure the package's true origin. The sophistication of the delivery network suggested professional planning and significant financial resources. Agent Collins presented findings from the digital forensics team that had been analyzing the shipping documentation and related communications. "The paperwork trail is exceptionally well crafted," she reported. "Every document appears authentic, every seal is properly applied, and the diplomatic channels were used correctly. However, our analysis reveals subtle inconsistencies that suggest the entire documentation package was manufactured specifically for this delivery." The revelation that someone had created an entirely fabricated diplomatic delivery system demonstrated a level of sophistication that concerned everyone in the room. Creating convincing diplomatic documentation required inside knowledge of international protocols and access to official materials and processes. Meanwhile, back at Kensington Palace, the security response had expanded to include a comprehensive review of all recent deliveries and communications. Princess Catherine's schedule and activities were being analyzed to determine if there had been any attempts to gather intelligence about her movements or plans in preparation for the delivery attempt. Detective Chief Inspector Robert Hayes coordinated the palace-based investigation from the Security Command Center. His team was reviewing months of delivery records, visitor logs, and communication intercepts to identify any patterns or connections that might reveal the scope of the operation. "We're looking at this as potentially part of a larger intelligence gathering effort," Hayes explained to his team. "The sophistication of the delivery attempt suggests it was planned well in advance, which means there may have been other activities designed to support or prepare for this operation." The review of recent activities revealed several concerning patterns. Over the previous 2 months, there had been an unusual number of inquiries from journalists and researchers claiming to be working on projects related to royal history and cultural exchanges. While such inquiries were not uncommon, the timing and specific nature of some questions now seemed suspicious in light of the morning's discovery. Dr. Foster's team had made additional progress in analyzing the containers using non-invasive scanning techniques. The advanced imaging revealed that the electronic devices inside appeared to be hybrid systems combining traditional surveillance equipment with more sophisticated technology that could potentially interface with modern communication networks. What we're seeing is consistent with devices designed for long-term surveillance operations, Dr. Foster reported during an afternoon update briefing. The equipment appears designed to be activated remotely and to transmit data through encrypted channels. The sophistication suggests these are not off-the-shelf surveillance devices, but custom-built equipment designed for a specific operation. The realization that the devices were designed for remote activation raised immediate concerns about whether similar equipment might already have been successfully delivered and deployed. If this delivery had been intercepted, it was possible that other attempts had succeeded, meaning that active surveillance equipment might already be in place. Agent Collins coordinated with international intelligence services to determine if similar delivery attempts have been detected in other countries or targeting other high-profile individuals. The initial responses were troubling. Several allied nations reported having intercepted suspicious packages in recent months, though none had shown the same level of sophistication as the London attempt. The international scope of the apparent operation suggested coordination at a level that implicated either a sophisticated criminal organization or state-sponsored intelligence activities. The connection to Operation Nightingale, combined with the advanced technology and international reach, pointed toward the involvement of highly skilled operatives with significant resources. As the afternoon progressed, the investigation team received a breakthrough from an unexpected source. Thomas Hartwell, the courier who had delivered the package, contacted the security team with additional information that had occurred to him during his interview. "I remember something else about the pickup," Thomas reported when he was brought back for additional questioning. "The person who handed me the package at the diplomatic courier service wasn't one of their regular staff. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now I realize I'd never seen him before, and he seemed unusually interested in the delivery timeline and procedures." This new information provided the investigation team with their first potential lead to someone directly involved in the operation. The diplomatic courier service was immediately contacted, and their records showed that the individual who had handled the package handoff was not a regular employee and had been working there for only 2 weeks under what appeared to be false credentials. Security footage from the courier service was rushed to analysis teams, who began working to identify the individual and trace his activities. The footage showed a middle-aged man with distinctive facial features and mannerisms that suggested professional training in avoiding detection. Dr. Novak provided additional concerning information from the Prague investigation. "We've discovered that the museum where Dr. Kovar works was the target of a sophisticated cyber intrusion approximately 8 weeks ago," he reported. The intrusion was so subtle that it wasn't detected by their security systems until we began investigating this morning's events. The cyber intrusion had provided the perpetrators with access not only to Dr. Kovar's personal information, but also to detailed records of the museum's cultural exchange programs and international contacts. This information would have allowed them to create convincing documentation and to understand exactly how legitimate cultural exchanges were conducted and documented. The scope of the operation was becoming clear. This had been a months-long intelligence gathering and preparation effort involving cyber intrusion, identity theft, sophisticated manufacturing of surveillance equipment, creation of false documentation, infiltration of courier services, and coordination of international delivery networks. The level of planning and resources suggested the involvement of a highly capable organization with significant backing. As evening approached, Dr. Foster's team had made the decision to attempt opening the first container under maximum security protocols. The examination would be conducted using robotic systems in a completely isolated environment with real-time monitoring for chemical, biological, and radiological threats. The secure laboratory had been transformed into a high-security facility, rivaling those used for handling the most dangerous materials. Multiple backup systems ensured that if anything went wrong during the examination, the threat could be contained without risk to personnel or the surrounding area. Sarah watched the proceedings from the observation room, surrounded by experts from multiple disciplines who were prepared to analyze whatever was revealed. The tension was palpable as the robotic systems began the delicate process of opening the first container. The container opened with a soft mechanical hiss, revealing sophisticated electronic equipment packed in protective foam. The device inside was unlike anything the examination team had seen, a compact system that appeared to combine multiple surveillance technologies in a single unit. Dr. Foster's analysis revealed that the device was a hybrid surveillance system capable of audio recording, video capture, environmental monitoring, and data transmission. The sophistication of the electronics was remarkable, incorporating technology that was years ahead of commercially available equipment. "This is military-grade surveillance equipment," Dr. Foster announced to the assembled experts. "The level of miniaturization and the integration of multiple capabilities suggests access to cutting-edge research and development facilities. This isn't something that could be manufactured by a criminal organization. We're looking at state-level technological capabilities." The second container revealed similar equipment, but with additional capabilities that appeared designed for long-term deployment. The device included power management systems that could extend operational life for months and communication systems that could interface with various network technologies. The third container, bearing the mysterious symbol, contained the most sophisticated device of all. In addition to the surveillance capabilities found in the other containers, this device included what appeared to be data processing and analysis capabilities that could provide real-time intelligence gathering and transmission. As the examination concluded, the full scope of what had been prevented became clear. The three devices, if successfully deployed, would have created a comprehensive surveillance network capable of monitoring Princess Catherine's activities, conversations, and movements in unprecedented detail. The intelligence gathered could have been used for everything from blackmail and manipulation to planning more direct threats. Commander Thornton addressed the investigation team as the day's discoveries were compiled into a comprehensive threat assessment. "What we've uncovered represents one of the most serious threats to royal security in decades," he stated. "The sophistication and scope of this operation suggests we're dealing with a highly capable adversary with significant resources and long-term objectives." The investigation was far from over. While the immediate threat had been neutralized, the perpetrators remained at large, and the possibility of other successful deliveries or ongoing operations remained. The international scope of the threat required continued coordination with multiple intelligence services and law enforcement agencies. As night fell over London, security around the royal family was quietly enhanced while investigators worked to trace the network responsible for the attempted surveillance operation. The discovery at the palace gates had prevented a significant breach of royal security, but it had also revealed the existence of a sophisticated threat that would require ongoing vigilance to fully address. Sarah reflected on the day's events as she prepared her detailed report on the discovery. A routine morning at the security checkpoint had evolved into one of the most significant security incidents of her career, and she understood that the implications would continue to unfold for weeks or months to come. The investigation had only just begun, and the full truth about who was behind the operation and what their ultimate objectives might be remained to be discovered. The operations center at Thames House buzzed with activity as dawn broke over London, marking the beginning of the second day of what had become known as Operation Royal Shield. Detective Inspector Sarah Mitchell stood before a wall of monitors displaying intelligence feeds from around the world, each screen representing a piece of the puzzle that had begun with her discovery at the palace checkpoint. Agent Rebecca Collins from MI5 approached with a folder containing overnight developments that would reshape their understanding of the threat they were facing. "Sarah, we've had some significant breakthroughs during the night," she said, her voice carrying both excitement and concern. "The facial recognition analysis of the courier service footage has produced results. The mysterious individual who had infiltrated the diplomatic courier service had been identified as Viktor Petrov, a former Soviet intelligence operative who had supposedly died in a car accident in Moscow 15 years earlier. His resurrection and appearance in London suggested that reports of his death had been carefully orchestrated to provide him with a new identity for continued operations. Petrov was a specialist in what the Soviets called deep penetration operations, Agent Collins explained as she pulled up his file on the main display screen. He was trained in long-term infiltration, sophisticated surveillance techniques, and had particular expertise in targeting high-value individuals in Western democracies. The revelation that they were dealing with a professional operative of Petrov's caliber transformed the investigation from a sophisticated criminal operation to what appeared to be a state-sponsored intelligence activity. The implications for international relations were serious, particularly given the current global political climate. Dr. Margaret Foster joined the briefing with updates from the technical analysis team that had been working through the night to understand the full capabilities of the intercepted surveillance devices. Her findings were even more alarming than initially suspected. The equipment we discovered represents technology that's at least 5 years ahead of anything we've seen in commercial or military applications, Dr. Foster reported. The miniaturization, power efficiency, and communication capabilities suggest access to research and development programs that are still classified in most advanced nations. The devices incorporated artificial intelligence capabilities that could analyze conversations and activities in real time, identifying sensitive information and automatically transmitting priority intelligence to remote operators. The sophistication suggested not just state sponsorship, but access to the most advanced intelligence technology development programs. Commander Thornton coordinated with international partners as the scope of the operation became clear. Intelligence services from across Europe reported similar suspicious activities over the previous months, suggesting that the attempt on Princess Catherine was part of a broader campaign targeting high-profile individuals across multiple countries. We're looking at a coordinated intelligence operation that spans at least 6 countries, Commander Thornton explained to the assembled team. The pattern suggests a systematic attempt to establish surveillance networks targeting political leaders, royal family members, and other individuals with access to sensitive information. The investigation team had been working to trace the financial networks that had supported the operation. The resources required for such sophisticated equipment, international coordination, and long-term planning suggested funding at a level that implicated either major criminal organizations or state sponsors. Detective Chief Inspector Hayes provided updates from the Palace Security Review that had been conducted overnight. We've identified at least 12 other deliveries over the past 6 months that show patterns consistent with intelligence gathering activities, he reported. None contain surveillance equipment, but they appear to have been designed to test our security procedures and response times. The revelation that the palace had been under systematic observation and testing for months was deeply concerning. It suggested that the intercepted surveillance equipment was part of a much larger operation that had been in planning and preparation for an extended period. Sarah found herself at the center of briefings with officials from the highest levels of government as the implications of the discovery continued to expand. The Prime Minister's office had been briefed, and discussions were underway regarding diplomatic responses to what appeared to be a serious breach of international law. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Pavel Novak from Czech intelligence contacted the London team with crucial information discovered during the expanded investigation in Prague. The cyber intrusion at Dr. Kovar's museum had been more extensive than initially realized, and the digital forensics team had recovered deleted files that provided insight into the perpetrator's planning. We found evidence of communications between the Prague operation and handlers in at least 3 other countries, Dr. Novak reported during a secure video conference. The messages are encrypted, but our analysis suggests this is part of a larger network that has been operating for several years. The communications logs revealed that the London operation had been designated as a high-priority target, with specific instructions regarding the surveillance equipment and its intended deployment. References to the primary subject and long-term assessment requirements suggested that Princess Catherine had been specifically targeted for extended surveillance. Agent Collins coordinated with international partners to map the communication networks that had been discovered. The analysis revealed a sophisticated command structure with operational cells in multiple countries, each apparently focused on different targets, but coordinated through a central command authority. We're looking at a professional intelligence network that has been operating under deep cover for years, Agent Collins explained. The level of coordination and the resources involved suggest state-level backing, but the specific identity of the sponsoring organization remains unclear. The technical analysis of the surveillance devices had revealed additional concerning capabilities. The equipment included provisions for software updates and additional functionality that could be activated remotely, suggesting that even if successfully deployed, the devices could have been enhanced or repurposed for different surveillance objectives over time. Dr. Foster's team discovered that the devices included self-destruct capabilities that could be activated if they were discovered or if their operation was compromised. The sophistication of these security measures indicated that the perpetrators had planned for the possibility of discovery and had included provisions to prevent their equipment from being analyzed. The self-destruct mechanisms are sophisticated enough to completely destroy the devices while minimizing collateral damage, Dr. Foster explained. This suggests concern about the equipment being reverse-engineered or providing evidence of its origin. The investigation team received another significant breakthrough when international surveillance detected Viktor Petrov attempting to leave the United Kingdom through a private airfield in Kent. The arrest was coordinated by multiple agencies and conducted with maximum security protocols given his background and the sensitive nature of the operation. Petrov's arrest provided the investigation team with their first opportunity to interrogate someone directly involved in the operation. However, initial interviews revealed that he had been trained to resist interrogation and was providing limited useful information about the broader network or its objectives. Petrov is a professional who knows how to protect operational security, reported the specialist interrogation team. He's providing some tactical information about his role in the London operation, but he's not revealing strategic information about the network's leadership or other operations. Despite Petrov's resistance, forensic analysis of materials found in his possession provided valuable intelligence. Documents, communication devices, and financial records revealed connections to other operatives and provided insight into the network's operational methods and resource allocation. The financial analysis revealed that the operation had been funded through a complex network of shell companies and cryptocurrency transactions designed to obscure the source of the funding. The sophistication of the financial network suggested professional money laundering capabilities and significant resources. As the investigation progressed, international partners reported success in identifying and arresting other members of the network. Coordinated operations in 4 countries resulted in the detention of suspected operatives and the seizure of additional surveillance equipment and operational materials. The expanded investigation revealed that the network had been planning similar operations targeting government officials and high-profile individuals across Europe and North America. The discovery of the surveillance equipment intended for Princess Catherine had disrupted what appeared to be a systematic campaign of intelligence gathering against Western targets. Dr. Foster's analysis of the seized materials provided insight into the network's technological capabilities and objectives. The equipment and documentation we've recovered suggests this network had access to intelligence technology that rivals anything possessed by major intelligence services, she reported. The scope of the threat had implications beyond the immediate security of the royal family. The network's capabilities suggested potential for industrial espionage, political intelligence gathering, and other activities that could affect national security across multiple countries. Princess Catherine was briefed on the situation by the Royal Protection Team, and enhanced security measures were implemented while the investigation continued. The public remained unaware of the specific details, but increased security around royal family members was noticed by media observers. As the investigation moved into its second week, the full scope of the network became clearer. Intelligence agencies identified connections to at least 15 operatives across 7 countries, suggesting an organization with significant scale and coordination capabilities. The diplomatic implications were managed carefully, with government officials working to address the international law enforcement issues without creating unnecessary diplomatic tensions. The evidence clearly indicated criminal activity and intelligence operations, but attribution to specific state sponsors remained complex. Sarah found herself commended by senior officials for her role in detecting the threat, but she remained focused on ensuring that all aspects of the network were identified and neutralized. The sophistication of the operation suggested that other threats might still exist, and vigilance would be required to prevent future attempts. The investigation concluded with the successful disruption of what appeared to be one of the most sophisticated intelligence networks discovered in recent years. The international coordination of law enforcement and intelligence agencies had prevented a significant breach of security and had provided valuable insight into emerging threats to high-profile individuals and government officials. The technical analysis of the surveillance equipment provided intelligence services with important information about advanced surveillance technologies and techniques that could be used to enhance defensive measures against similar future threats. As Sarah returned to her regular duties at Kensington Palace, the security protocols had been permanently enhanced based on lessons learned from the investigation. The experience had demonstrated both the sophistication of modern threats and the importance of vigilant security procedures in protecting high-value targets. The case files were classified at the highest levels, but the intelligence gathered during the investigation continued to provide valuable information for ongoing security operations. The network's disruption had prevented not only the surveillance of Princess Catherine, but also similar operations targeting other high-profile individuals across multiple countries. The morning fog rolled across the Thames as it had on the day of the discovery, but the security checkpoint at Kensington Palace now operated with enhanced procedures and additional technology designed to detect even more sophisticated threats. Sarah's experience had contributed to improvements in royal protection that would benefit security operations for years to come. The investigation had revealed that even the most sophisticated threats could be detected and neutralized through vigilant security procedures, professional expertise, and international cooperation. The network that had planned to compromise royal security had been dismantled, but the experience served as a reminder that threats to high-profile individuals continued to evolve and required constant vigilance to address. The case of the intercepted surveillance equipment became a training example for security professionals around the world, demonstrating both the sophistication of modern threats and the importance of thorough security procedures in protecting against them. Sarah's discovery at the palace checkpoint had prevented a significant security breach and had contributed to the disruption of an international intelligence network that posed threats far beyond the royal family. Years later, as enhanced security measures became routine and new technologies were deployed to protect against evolving threats, the morning Sarah discovered the suspicious package would be remembered as a turning point in understanding and addressing sophisticated intelligence operations targeting high-profile individuals. The vigilance of security professionals and the importance of thorough procedures had once again proven essential in protecting against those who would compromise the safety and security of democratic institutions and their representatives.